I came home from an 11-hour construction shift, covered in sweat and concrete, only to find my wife and her friends secretly planning to destroy my life. By the end of the week, I was in handcuffs for something I didn't do. And the reason why? You're not going to believe who set me up, or how far they went. I work construction, and the other day was one of those nightmare shifts where everything falls apart. We were stuck outside in the Georgia heat for nearly 11 hours, and it must have been close to 93 degrees. The concrete truck got held up, so everything got delayed, and we had to stay behind to finish laying the foundation. By the time I pulled into the driveway, it was almost 7:45 p.m. I was caked in sweat and grime. My back was on fire, and all I wanted was a hot shower and 5 minutes of peace. But as soon as I walked in the front door, there they were, my wife Melina and 3 of her friends, all cozied up in the living room with wine glasses in hand, music playing, and laughter echoing off the walls. The moment I stepped in, they went silent and just stared like I was a total stranger crashing their party. And not in a good way. Melina goes, "Oh hey, babe. You remember Tara, Emily, and Kristen, right?" I gave a nod and a quick, tired, "Hey," but that was all I had in me. I just wanted to get upstairs, rinse off the concrete dust that was itching under my collar, and maybe grab a bite before I collapsed. But then Tara, who I've never really clicked with because she always acts like she's above everyone else, smirked at me and said, "Wow, not even gonna say more than that? Kinda antisocial, don't you think?" I knew that smirk. She wanted a reaction. I stood there thinking, "Lady, I've been up since 5 a.m., sweating under the sun doing actual work." I was drained, filthy, starving. All I needed was space. But Melina had this weird look on her face, almost embarrassed, like I was ruining the vibe. And that's when I started to feel my patience unravel. Why should I have to play the good host when I've just busted my butt all day to keep this roof over our heads, while they're sipping Chardonnay on a couch I paid for? So I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna pass tonight." I'm completely spent, and turned to head upstairs. But before I even made it to the stairs, Emily chimed in, "Wow, that's kind of rude. We hardly ever see you." And then Kristen added, "Melina was just telling us how you never want to go out or hang anymore." And now I'm standing there, my hands still dirty from work, wondering what exactly has Melina been telling them about me? My face got hot. I probably should have just ignored it and kept walking, but the frustration boiled over. I turned back and said, "I work 58 hours a week. I'm covered in cement. I haven't eaten since noon. Can someone cut me a little slack here?" Tara laughed, this smug, fake laugh, and said, "There's always some excuse with you, huh?" That's when I snapped a bit. Excuse me? Supporting my family isn't an excuse. And right then, Melina jumped in with this voice like she was babysitting a tantruming kid. "Okay, everyone, let's just relax." But the way she was looking at me, like I was the problem. And Tara wouldn't back off. "See? This is exactly what we were talking about before you got here. You always get so defensive and moody." And I'm just standing there, stunned, thinking, what the hell were they talking about before I got here? And why is my wife gossiping about me with these women? I looked straight at Melina and asked, "What exactly were y'all talking about?" And she just froze, eyes wide, like I'd just caught her doing something she didn't want me to know about. "Oh, nothing," she said way too quickly. "Just girl talk." But I could tell she was lying. Her friends were all watching this go down like it was their Friday night reality show. So I just said, "Fine. I'm going upstairs," and left without another word. Took a long shower, hoping to scrub the day off and maybe shake off the tension. But the moment I turned the water off, I could hear them laughing downstairs again. And I got this feeling deep in my gut that they were still talking about me, making jokes, picking me apart while I was trying to rinse off the day's sweat. I went to the kitchen to make a sandwich, hadn't eaten since lunchtime, and had to walk right past the living room. And yep, the second they saw me, they shut up. Tara muttered something low, and the other 2 laughed. I ignored it and kept walking. As I stood in the kitchen building my sandwich, I heard Melina's voice say something like, "He's always grumpy. Doesn't want to do anything fun anymore?" And I just froze mid-spread, wondering, is that really how she sees me? Is that what she tells people about me? So I took my sandwich and went upstairs. Turned on Netflix. Tried to zone out. But the walls in this house are thin, and I could hear every word. "Tara, I don't know how you put up with that." "Emily, he's always so cold and harsh." "Kristen, that's not how a husband's supposed to act." And I'm sitting there chewing my sandwich, heart pounding, thinking, these women know nothing about me or what I deal with. But here they are, passing judgment like I'm some kind of monster. Then I heard Melina say, "You guys don't get it. It's gotten worse lately. He's so controlling now. He gets angry over everything." I nearly dropped my plate. Controlling? Angry? I work all day and try not to bother anyone when I get home. Then Tara said, that sounds like emotional abuse to me. And suddenly my stomach was in knots. Emily chimed in, yeah, even walking away like that, it's manipulation. And I'm thinking, since when is needing a damn shower considered manipulation? Then Melina, my wife of 4 years, the woman I thought had my back, goes, sometimes I wonder what life would be like if I had married someone different. Someone who really wanted to live, not just exist. That one hit me like a punch. I had to put the sandwich down before I threw up. Kristen, you deserve so much better. Tara, you need to think about whether this is the life you want. Melina, I know. I think about that a lot. He's just so negative. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I sat there for 10 solid minutes, staring at the blank TV screen, wondering when the hell I became the guy she was describing. I go to work. I pay the bills. I don't cheat. I barely drink. I don't yell. I thought we were. Okay. Maybe not perfect, but solid. Eventually their voices got louder. Probably more wine involved. Tara started slurring. I bet he checks your phone. Does he control the money too? And Melina, like she forgot the truth, goes, well, he does handle the bills. And I'm thinking, of course I do, because she asked me to. She hates managing money. It stresses her out. Then Emily said something about classic abuse signs, and Kristen said, you should start keeping records of everything. That's when I realized they weren't just gossiping anymore. They were building a case. And my wife was just letting it happen. I couldn't listen anymore. I put on my headphones and tried to drown it out. But all I could think about was Melina saying she wonders if she should have married someone else. And I started wondering, how long has she felt this way? Has the whole relationship been one big lie? They finally left around 10:55 p.m., and when Melina came upstairs, she acted like nothing had happened. Asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine, but really, I was numb. I needed space to think. Now I'm just lying here, staring at the ceiling, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm being set up for something. That maybe, behind my back, she's been rewriting our whole story, turning me into the villain, one quiet conversation at a time. Am I really the jerk for just going upstairs instead of playing host to her friends? Melina's name might be on all our accounts, but the truth is she's never really managed them. And then Nicole says, we're just helping her figure out her options. That's when it hit me like a brick. They weren't just looking at our finances, they were helping her prepare for a divorce. It felt like I'd just been sucker punched. My chest tightened, and I said, you all need to leave. Now, or I'm calling the cops. But of course, Tara laughs and goes, go ahead. I'm sure the police will love hearing how you're threatening 3 women. I kept my voice steady. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm telling you to leave my home. That's when Melina walked through the door. She froze like a deer caught in headlights, seeing all of us standing there mid-showdown. And before I could say a word, Nicole blurts out, he came home early and started yelling, which was a complete lie. Melina looked straight at me and said, why are you being so hostile? I stared back and asked, why are your friends rifling through our financial documents? She got instantly defensive. I can share whatever I want with my friends. Our mortgage paperwork? Our bank statements? Without even talking to me first. I asked. Tara jumps in with her usual smugness. See? He's trying to control you again. I looked her dead in the eye. I'm not controlling anything. I just want to understand why personal documents from my life are being passed around like flyers at a block party. Melina said, because I needed help figuring out our money situation. I said, you could have asked me. I would have walked you through every line. She snapped, yeah, sure. Like you ever actually explain anything. You just do everything your way and expect me to go along with it. And I'm thinking, since when did asking me about finances become impossible? I told her, Melina, every time you've asked about money, I've answered you honestly. Tara muttered, that's what every controlling guy says. Nicole started gathering the papers and said, maybe we should go. But Melina shook her head. No. Stay. I said, no. They should go. We need to talk, just the 2 of us. And Melina replied, I don't want to be alone with you when you're like this. That one hit hard. Like this? Like what, exactly? What am I being like, Melina? I asked. You're being aggressive. And scary. I looked around at the 3 of them. They were staring at me like I was some wild animal that had just walked in from the woods. And in that moment, I knew it didn't matter what I said. They'd already made up their minds. I was the villain in their version of this story. So I said, I'm going out for a drive. When I come back, I want them gone so we can talk like adults. I turned to leave, but of course Tara had to get the last word. Running away again. Real mature. I spun back around and snapped. You know what, Tara? You've been talking trash about me in my own house for 2 straight days. And I'm done with it. There it is, she said with a grin. The real you. Melina chimed in. Please don't yell. I said, I'm not yelling. I'm trying to figure out why my marriage is being torn apart in front of people who clearly can't stand me. Nicole said, we don't hate you. We just think Melina deserves better. I stared at her. Based on what? You don't know anything about what goes on between us. Tara answered, we know enough. Then I turned to Melina and asked, is this what you want? You want your friends deciding how your marriage should go? She didn't respond, just stood there, silent. That silence said everything. Fine, I said. Figure it out. I'll be upstairs. I packed an overnight bag. When I came back down, they were huddled together like they were planning an intervention. They went quiet the moment they saw me. I looked at Melina and said, we need to talk tomorrow. Just you and me. No audience. Tara snapped back. She doesn't have to talk to you if she doesn't want to. I said, actually, she does. She's my wife. Tara got nasty. Not for long if she's smart. What's that supposed to mean? I asked. It means she's finally seeing you for what you are. She shot back. I turned to Melina. Is that how you feel? She wouldn't look at me. Quietly, she said, I think you should stay somewhere else tonight. This is my house too. Nicole jumped in. Maybe legally, but she doesn't feel safe. I asked. Safe from what? What exactly do you think I'm going to do? Tara replied, we've heard the stories. What stories? I asked, voice shaking now. Melina finally looked at me and said, just go, please. So I left. Now I'm sitting in this motel room trying to make sense of it all. I keep hearing Tara's words. We've heard the stories, and I can't stop wondering what Melina's been telling them. When did our marriage become something she felt she had to escape from? I called her this morning. No answer. I texted her, asked if we could meet up. She replied, I need space. I'll reach out when I'm ready. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. It feels like I'm on trial for something I didn't do, and I haven't even seen the charges. And the jury? Already decided I'm guilty. Edit. A few people asked about Kristen. She wasn't there for any of the fallout because she and her husband actually moved to Arizona the next day. His job transferred him. That night with the wine was supposed to be her goodbye party, which makes it even more messed up. Instead of celebrating her move, they spent the whole night tearing me apart behind my back. He told me he needed to get a formal statement and asked where I was staying. I told him I was at the Wyndham off Route 12, and he said he was on his way. I hung up and just sat there thinking, what the hell is happening to my life? 2 officers showed up. One was clearly leading, the other quiet but observant. To their credit, they were respectful. They asked me to explain my side, so I told them everything. The separation, the awkward meetup, the way things spiraled. Then came the hard questions. Have you ever hit your wife or threatened her? No. Absolutely not, I said, firmly. Then the lead officer asked, have you ever gone through her phone or computer? Checked her emails or monitored her social media? I blinked. No. Why would I do that? He said, the complaint included concerns about controlling behavior. So I explained how I walked in to find Melina's friends digging through our financial documents, how that led to the argument, and how I left to cool off. They glanced at each other, and the younger one asked, just to confirm, you're saying she gave them access to your shared accounts? Apparently, yes, I said. After a few more questions, they told me they didn't see any criminal conduct, but that it'd be smart to avoid contact with her while things settled. I told them I was already out of the house and staying in a hotel. Once they left, I called my brother, completely shaken. Dude, he said, you need to get a lawyer. Right now. For what? I asked. Because it sounds like she's building a case against you. A case? For what? Divorce. Alimony. Maybe even trying to claim abuse so she gets the bigger slice. I hadn't even considered that, but it made sense, especially with her friends combing through my financial records. So that morning, I booked a consultation with a divorce attorney. He listened carefully, then said, from what you've told me, it sounds like your wife has been preparing this for a while. Her friends weren't just helping, they were likely gathering evidence. He told me the police report, even without charges, could be twisted to make me look unstable or dangerous. His advice, be careful with every word and don't reach out to her unless it's documented. We scheduled a follow-up the next day to begin filing paperwork. Apparently, if she filed first, she could claim I was hiding assets or try to file a restraining order. I couldn't believe any of this was real. I kept thinking about the other night, how she hesitated when I asked if she thought I was abusive, how she said maybe, and it started to hit me. This whole thing might have been in motion for a long time. Oddly enough, the lawyer said Melina letting her friends handle our documents might actually help me. It showed planning, not panic. proof she was laying the groundwork for a divorce, not escaping abuse. Still, I couldn't shake how surreal it all felt. Final update. I don't even know why I'm typing this. Maybe I just need to get it out of my system because the last 24 hours have flipped my entire world upside down. After that last update, I was back at the hotel, pacing the floor, trying to figure out my next move, when my phone lit up with calls from numbers I didn't know. I finally picked up one. My neighbor, Mark. "Hey man, are you okay?" he asked. "What the hell's going on at your place?" "What do you mean?" I asked, heart suddenly pounding. "There are cops. An ambulance." Melina's out front bawling her eyes out. My stomach dropped. "Mark, what happened?" he said. "I don't know, but the whole street's blocked off. It looks serious." I hung up and jumped in my truck, even though my attorney had told me to stay away. When I got to the house, the scene was like something out of a movie. 3 police cruisers, a fire truck, an ambulance, neighbors on porches, phones out, whispers everywhere. And there was Melina, wrapped in a blanket, crying in the back of the ambulance. I stepped forward, and a cop immediately stopped me. "Sir, you need to leave. This is my house." "What's going on?" "We received a report of domestic violence." "What?" I asked. "I haven't seen my wife since yesterday afternoon." "I've got proof. She has bruises on her arms," he said flatly. "She claims you grabbed and shook her." The world started spinning. I said, "Officer, I've been at the Wyndham since last night. I've got the room key, the receipt. I ordered dinner. There are cameras." He told me to step away. Another officer walked over. "Are you the husband?" "Yes. You're under arrest for assault and battery." "What?" I was barely able to speak. "I want a lawyer." They told me I could call one from the station. Then they cuffed me, right there in front of everyone. I saw a flash go off. My neighbor across the street was taking a photo. I'd never felt more humiliated in my life. At the station, I got one call. I called my lawyer. He said, "Don't talk to anyone. I'm on my way." When he arrived, we met with the detective. My lawyer laid everything out: hotel records, receipts, key card activity, room service timestamp from 9:03 p.m. He even told them to pull surveillance footage. I watched the detective's face slowly change as he realized I couldn't have been at the house when Melina claimed the incident happened. He left the room, came back about half an hour later, and said there was some confusion about the timeline. "What kind of confusion?" my lawyer asked. The detective said, "The alleged victim may have misremembered when the event occurred." My lawyer replied, "Or maybe it never happened at all. They let me go, told me to stay away from the house and avoid contacting Melina." I went back to the hotel, completely numb. That's when my phone rang again. It was Tara. She was crying, slurring her words. "I'm sorry," she said. "This wasn't supposed to happen." "What wasn't?" "Melina wasn't supposed to call the cops. We were just trying to help her get ready for the divorce." "Help how?" Still crying, she said. "We told her to document things, to get proof you were controlling." "Proof of what?" "I've never touched her." "I know, but we thought it would help her case." I couldn't even breathe. "Are you saying she faked the bruises?" More sobbing. "She fell at work a few days ago, bruised her arms. I told her she should take pictures and say you grabbed her. But she wasn't supposed to involve the police. Just use the photos as leverage." "Leverage?" I asked. "That's framing me." "No, not framing. Just helping her." "That is framing, Tara." She kept repeating how sorry she was, that it was all supposed to be just a bluff. But then Melina's sister apparently told her to make it official. And everything spiraled. I hung up, called my lawyer. He asked, "Did you record that?" "No. But if she calls again, I'll be ready." He said, "Good. Don't reach out to her. But if she contacts you, record everything." An hour later, she did call back. And this time, I recorded the entire conversation. Tara admitted to everything. The staged photo plan, the false allegations, how the idea was just to boost Melina's position in the divorce, but it got out of hand. We took the recording straight to the police. The detective listened, his jaw clenched. He said they'd be arresting both Melina and Tara for filing a false report, possibly perjury. If they could confirm Nicole was involved, she'd face charges too. He said all charges against me would be dropped and expunged from the record. My lawyer told me to contact a civil attorney, said I could sue for false imprisonment, defamation, emotional damages. He also said the divorce case was basically over. Melina had shown bad faith, deception, and intent to defraud. He said she might not get a cent, might even owe me damages. I just sat there, stunned, thinking how close I came to losing everything. If Tara hadn't gotten drunk and called me feeling guilty, I could have been in jail right now, facing charges for something I didn't do. And Melina? She'd be playing the victim. Everyone would have believed her. I keep asking myself, how do you spend 4 years married to someone and not see this coming? I guess that's the thing about deception. It doesn't always look like betrayal when it starts. Sometimes it smiles at you across the dinner table and stabs you when your back is turned. The divorce papers are being filed tomorrow. My lawyer says we're going after everything we legally can, and honestly, I don't feel the slightest bit bad about that. Melina tried to blow up my entire life for the sake of money. If someone's willing to lie and twist the truth just to cash out, they deserve the consequences. But even now, it still feels unreal. Like I'm living someone else's nightmare. Final update. I know most folks have probably moved on and forgotten all about this mess, but I figured I should close the loop. A bunch of people kept asking how it ended, and well, the divorce finally became official last week. So, after the chaos with the false police report and the arrests, Melina pled guilty to filing a false report. She got 6 months probation, community service, and a fine. Tara, her friend who started the whole "take pictures of your bruises" idea, got the same, plus she had to reimburse me for my legal expenses, which was a relief because those bills added up fast. Nicole didn't get charged. There wasn't enough solid proof she was involved in the fake bruise setup. But let's be honest, she was absolutely in on it. She was digging through my paperwork like the rest of them. The divorce itself dragged on forever. Melina kept trying to delay things and insisted she was the real victim, even after her guilty plea. But my lawyer shut that down every time. Eventually, her own attorney must have gotten tired of her nonsense and told her to stop. It was only making her look worse. In the end, she walked away with basically nothing. She got her car and whatever personal stuff she had. That's it. No spousal support, no chunk of my retirement. And she had to split the attorney fees with me, even though mine were way higher because I had to deal with criminal charges on top of everything else. She also had to sign an agreement saying she'd never accuse me of abuse again or contact me for any reason. I kept the house, most of our joint savings, and my retirement account stayed untouched. No alimony. My lawyer said that was rare, but the judge was furious about the deception and false accusations. The part that threw me? A few weeks before it all wrapped up, Melina's sister reached out. She said she was sorry, claimed she had no idea what Melina had planned, said she was the one who told Melina to call the cops, but only because she believed the lies Melina had been feeding her. According to her, Melina had been complaining about me for months, painting me as some emotionally cold control freak. She and their mom had been pushing Melina to leave me, but neither of them thought she'd go so far as to fabricate a domestic violence claim. I asked her when all this started, when Melina began rewriting our marriage like I was some kind of monster. She said it was around the time we bought the house. When Melina realized how much I actually made and how much equity we were building, that's when she started twisting things, saying I controlled the money, saying I isolated her, which was complete garbage. Melina knew exactly what we had financially. She had her own debit cards, credit cards, and access to every account. She just thought that if she played the victim, she'd walk away with more. Melina's sister told me she's living with their mom now, working retail and barely scraping by. Apparently, she's been telling everyone I ruined her life and got her arrested for no reason. I told her sister flat out. Melina got herself arrested when she faked evidence and filed a false report. Her sister agreed, but said Melina still feels justified. She truly believes I was emotionally abusive. I asked her what abuse, and she said, working too much, not being social, managing the bills. You know, all the stuff her friends convinced her was abusive. That's when it really hit me. Melina still thinks she's the victim. She's convinced herself of it. It's wild how some people can twist their own actions into someone else's fault just to avoid accountability. But me? I'm okay now. Work's solid. I even got a raise last month. I'm making more now than I ever did when we were together, which is the ironic part. If she had just asked for a divorce, she probably could have walked away with a decent settlement. My brother, my parents, they never once believed the accusations. My coworkers thought it was all BS. My foreman even wrote a character reference letter saying I was one of the calmest guys he'd ever worked with. Sure, I still get angry when I think about how close I came to losing everything, or ending up in prison for something I didn't do. But most of the time, I just feel grateful. Grateful it's over. Grateful I didn't have kids with someone capable of that kind of deception. I don't know when exactly Melina decided to start plotting. I'll probably never know. But it doesn't matter anymore. She's not my wife. She's not my responsibility. And she never will be again. Sometimes, I wonder, What if I just sucked it up and hung out with her friends that night instead of going to my room? But truth is, that wouldn't have changed a thing. She already had one foot out the door. If it hadn't been that night, she would have found another reason. Because people who lie to the police and fake DV claims, they aren't good people. Doesn't matter how long you've known them. It took me 4 years to figure out who I was really married to, but I did. And now she's out of my life for good. So yeah, thank you to everyone who listened, offered advice, or just reminded me that I wasn't crazy, that what happened to me wasn't normal. That support? It kept me grounded. Honestly, you all might have saved me. From prison, from financial ruin, from a future with someone who wanted to destroy me and call it justice. Edit. Please stop asking for Melina's social media or trying to find her online. I'm not giving out any personal info, and I don't want anyone harassing her, even if she probably deserves it. Let her live whatever life she's got now. It's not my concern anymore.